welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about backup cameras. So you remember in my intro video about this car, I was mentioning that it really needs a backup camera. It's a very tall car. If you want to park tight spaces at night or so, you might need a little bit of assistance in there. But anyway, so I decided to give it a try. My original plan, I thought that okay, I can change the head unit and I can change and get a backup camera and all that, as I did to many other cars. But soon I realized, like, oh, this car have the AC controls and the heat controls attached to the head unit. So if you remove the head unit, you will be losing the cruise control, not a cruise control, the AC controls and the temperature and all that. And we are in Iowa, so it's hot in the summer and it's cold in the winter. So I decided to go with a different option. So I thought I'll test it out with something like this, backup camera and a display, and I'll walk you through on how I got this and how I did this installed. But before we go any further, I took this off the BMW for a reason. Take a look at this. Does it look good? It's ugly. Please, if you have one of those, don't ever install it. This looks ugly. It's annoying. Anyway, go with something like this, something more hidden. It's much cheaper. It's even better quality than that one. And it looks more professional. So let's go ahead and take a look exactly on what the steps I went through to get that set up. And yep, let's go. So to wire the camera, basically, you'll have two cables in here. You got the yellow one, that's for the signal for the signal for the camera, and the other cable is for the power. And so the same thing you'll have on this display. The display have three lines because it's have an option for front end camera, and these are for the rear end. So I use these cables. So essentially, you need to connect this power to this power and this signal to this signal. But the way I wanted to set it up is to get the camera to power on only when you are on reverse. I don't want the LCD to be on all the time or anything like that. So the way I did is I get the power from the reverse light. And I chose this reverse light because I find it easier for me. I wanted to go through the driver's side because there is a ground point or general ground point in there. I will walk you through it, and that's why I chose this side. But let's go ahead and open the trunk. We'll look into what's needed to be done in there. All right, so now what we are looking in here, we're looking at the trunk open, and this is the wiring for the backup light. So basically, essentially, we'll be wiring the power from this light. If you look over here, this is the wiring. You have the white for the ground and the red with a blue stripe for the positive. So you wire your backup camera lights in here to the reverse light. So you get the signal when you are reversing, not all the time. If you wire it directly through a hotline, basically the camera have a sensor for the night vision, and that will burn out very quickly. So that's why you need it to be this way. So to get here, you have a covering like this. The other way. Oh, you got a covering like this, and it's attached with the clips all the way around. So you have to take that off, and also you'll need to take this plastic off. You have two clips in here. You push this in, then you take that off. And also in the next section, I'll be showing you where I wired that, or how I got the wiring from the bumper to the inside the car. All right, so if you look over here in this gobble of wiring, and let's see what's going on. First thing first, you got the yellow wire. That's the signal going to go from here all the way here to the front, to the display. That's one wire. The other one here, you got three wires for power. You got the one that's coming from the backup light, the one that goes to the camera, and the one goes to the display. You got to connect all three together. And also you have two grounds, three grounds actually. One going to come from the backup light, one for the camera, and one for the display. So also over here, if you look, this is the grommet for the grommet for the connection where you get all the wires through. This is the only way you can get wires to the outside of the car. What I did is, as you noticed in here, I had this cut off and got all the wires out. Then I added my camera wire into it, and also after that I filled it up with a liquid tape, which is basically, it's like a tape. You know, you can use that in areas where you cannot use tape, but you need to insulate the soldering you did or the wire you cut. So you use the liquid tape. I use that to fill it up, so it's all sealed up, and you know, so there's no moisture comes into the trunk from that area. So let's go back to the front and let's see how the rest of the setup going. Now we are inside the car. So the way I got the wiring going in here, you got a bunch of plastic you got to remove, which is basically the easiest way to deal. You remove this piece first. You just have 3 clips in it. You just pull up on it a little bit from the inside usually, and that will take it off, not very hard. You have the weather stripping. You got it off in here a little bit. And you gotta remove the other one in the front like this. So basically I got the wires running from behind all the way up to here, to this point. Then basically from this point you have the factory wiring harness goes to the trunk. So I got a long rod, or you can get anything, you know, a coat hanger, metal, you flatten it up and tape it and get it through the trunk from that way. So I can connect it back to the wiring that you got, that is where I wired it in there at the beginning. So let's go back to the front. I'll show you the location of the common ground and we'll go from there. Alrighty. So over here, as you can see, there's another one like I mentioned in the other side. You just take this off. Usually you would remove the middle section in here, plastic, but I did not do that. I was able to fish it through because I didn't want to remove the bolt for the seat belt. I didn't feel, you know, the need for that. It was easy enough to just pass it through the original wiring harness. And as I said, you remove this, and over here you'll have a lot of grounds comes together. So you get your power all the way to the monitor, and you need a ground to ground it. You can use the ground all the way from the back, from the backup light, but I noticed with this specific display, it's needed another ground to get a better signal. The signal wasn't very good at the beginning, so I added another ground, and I wired it to here. There's a bolt that goes through all the grounds. This is the common ground area. Now to wire it up, this is a temporary setup for me. My original idea, I wanted to embed it inside the dash. I'll be getting a different dash and embed it inside and just modify it in case you know, I break something, I don't lose the original that I already have done in here, and that's why I have a different display in there also. So basically you start with this, you remove this piece, then you can remove this piece and the bezel, the covering around, you can remove this. So that's pretty much it. The setup is not really that hard. It took me about a couple hours to go through and get everything set up, but in general, it's not hard. You can do it like any other camera setup if you wanted it that way. If you're looking for better and nicer looking backup camera, wait for my hopefully next video in the near future, maybe next month or so. I'll get a different bezel, and I'll try to embed it in there and see how that will look like, if that's something you will be looking for. But for basic backup camera, that's what you're looking to do. You got the camera, the display over here, you got the camera in the back, and you got basically 3 wires to connect all of it together. But again, you got to hook it up with a backup light for the source of the power. Again, thank you for watching today, and have a great day.